Let us start today's class. Before starting today's class, let us have a recap of previous class. So in the last class, we were discussing about Zener diode. So this is a special purpose PN junction diode, which is meant to operate in reverse breakdown region. In this reverse breakdown region, this Zener diode will work like a voltage regulator. This is the Zener diode IV characteristic. Here, during forward bias, it will conduct just like a normal PN junction diode. The current will rise drastically after the voltage, forward voltage increases the knee voltage. In case of reverse biased condition, VZ is the reverse breakdown voltage. So after this VZ, if you increase the reverse voltage, current will drastically increase, and the diode is set to operate in the reverse breakdown region. So this reverse breakdown region will have a limitation for the current, which is called as IZ minimum. You can term this IZ minimum as the maximum reverse current, or as the current is in negative y-axis, you can also call this as minimum reverse current, right? So there will be always a limitation for the maximum reverse current in the reverse breakdown region. So if the current exceeds this limitation, then diode may be completely damaged, right? So we have to take care that the current would not increase this maximum value in the reverse direction. So that is termed as IZ minimum. These are equivalent circuits of Zener diode and normal PN junction diode. So you can have the difference. You can note down the difference here. After this triangle, we have a straight vertical line, right? So in this case, the line is slightly bent on both sides. So this is the symbol for Zener diode. Then afterwards, we have the equivalent circuit for Zener diode. So this is a linear piecewise equivalent circuit where you have the battery, which represents the reverse breakdown voltage. After that, you have the dynamic reverse resistance, which is represented by RZ. This RZ is the measure of slope of this line. Here you can find a slight slope, right? So it is a variation in VZ divided by variation in IZ. So that slope represents this dynamic resistance in reverse direction. If you make this dynamic resistance zero, then you will have the approximate model for this Zener diode, which will have only the battery, that is VZ. Then we have discussed the operation of Zener diode as a voltage regulator. So voltage regulator is a device which is used to maintain constant voltage across the load, irrespective of fluctuations in input voltage or load current. Either input voltage or load current, even if they vary, still this voltage regulator will be able to maintain a constant voltage at its load. So as long as this Zener diode operates within this maximum current range in reverse direction, so you can successfully use this Zener diode to as a voltage regulator. So this is the circuit for Zener diode voltage regulator. The input supply, which is also called as unregulated supply, will be connected to the Zener diode, and Zener diode will be connected in a reverse biased mode. That is, negative terminal of the diode is connected to positive terminal of the supply through this series resistance, and positive terminal of the diode is connected to the negative terminal of the supply. Across this diode, we are connecting the load, which is represented as a resistor RL. So whatever the voltage drop is there across this diode, which is VZ in reverse breakdown region, so same voltage will be across this RL. Therefore, V out will be equal to VZ. Hence, it maintains a constant output voltage across the load. And RS here, this is used to limit the value of IS. And one important thing that you have to note while performing circuit analysis is this IS is sum of IZ and IL. Is is sum of Iz and Il. This is very important thing. This sum or this equation is very much useful while performing circuit analysis. We shall discuss this voltage regulator under two cases. The first case is where IL is 0. IL is 0 means there is no load resistance that is connected here. Therefore, as IL is 0, this IZ will be directly equal to IS. As we know, Is is sum of Iz plus IL. As IL is 0, Iz is equal to Is. The entire current will flow through this diode, and hence the role of this Rs becomes very significant. We should carefully choose this so that the current Iz should not increase the maximum bearable current range of this diode in the reverse direction. The second case is where you are connected RL, and this second case can be analyzed using two techniques. One is line regulation, second one is load regulation. Line regulation is one where the fluctuations are due to the input voltage V in. Rs and RL will be constant, so there will be no variation in Rs and no variation in RL. Only the fluctuations or variations are with respect to the input unregulated voltage or supply voltage Vs. So voltage increases, what happens is obviously the current Is would increase. To compensate the rise in Is, Iz will increase, maintaining constant IL. Similarly, whenever this Vin decreases, obviously the current Is will decrease. Therefore, Iz will decrease in order to compensate this decrease in Is, and IL will be maintained constant. So this is a line regulation. And one important thing that we have to note while performing circuit analysis is there is always a minimum value of this Vin, beyond which or below which you cannot expect this Zener diode to work as voltage regulator. So always the value of Vin should be above that minimum value of Vin, where this Zener diode is successfully reverse biased and it operates in reverse breakdown region. So that is very important. Second thing is load regulation. Load regulation, as the name suggests, so all fluctuations or variation will occur due to variation in load resistance or variation in load current. The supply voltage V in or Vs will be constant, and also Rs will be constant. So whenever this RL is increased, it means that IL will reduce, but the value of Is is constant. Therefore, to compensate this, Iz will be increased by equal proportions, and hence the sum will be maintained. Sum of Iz and IL will be maintained with respect to Is. Similarly, when RL decreases, what will happen is IL will be increased. As the resistance decreases, current can flow in a larger quantity. Therefore, IL will increase, but the value of Is cannot increase. It is constant. Hence, Iz will be decreased by equal proportions to maintain the sum of Is equals IL plus Iz. Like this, load regulation will be performed. And here also one important thing that you have to notice is you cannot keep the value of RL to a minimum value. You should always keep the value of RL above a minimum value. If the value of RL is below that minimum value, then again this Zener diode will not be operating in reverse breakdown region, and hence you cannot make this Zener diode to work like voltage regulator. So that is very important. These 2 points are very important. That is the minimum value for voltage during line regulation and minimum value for RL during road regulation. These two are very important to perform circuit analysis. In the last class, we have solved the first problem. In the first problem, there are four cases. Under these four cases, you have to find out different parameters. The first case is where you have a small value of RL. So from the previous slide, you have a note down that always the value of load resistance RL should be greater than a minimum value. As this is very small value, we have assumed that initially that this Vz is not on, or it is not reverse biased, hence the value of Iz is 0. Therefore, considering that we have found out the value of IL, as this Iz becomes 0, IL will be exactly equal to RL, sorry, IR, and you can find out the value of current by dividing the voltage by total resistance. Total resistance is 200 plus 180, as the same current flows through both resistances. So you found out that current to be 52.6 milliampere. After getting the value of IL and IR, what you do is you use this value of IR to find out the value of VL. So how you can find out the value of VL is, here you have the source voltage 20 volt. This is not conducting. This is not conducting means this is open circuit here. So the value of VZ here across these 2 points, as this is open circuit, will be exactly equal to VL. Therefore, you can find out VZ as the difference of the potential drop across this 200 volt and 20, which is the supply voltage. Therefore, you can find out this Vz as 20 minus the potential drop across this. The potential drop or voltage drop across this can be found out by multiplying the value of current IR with the resistance 200. So that is what we have done here, and it is around 9.48, which is less than 10 volt. What is 10 volt? 10 volt is the value of Vz. So beyond this 10 volt only, this Vz will conduct. As the voltage is less than 10 volt, our assumption is correct. Next, we have found out the value of RL to be slightly higher than this first case. Therefore, we assume that the diode conducts. As the diode conducts, the value of Iz will be some finite value. Therefore, first we shall find out the value of IL, and the voltage across this RL would be same as the voltage across this diode. If the diode is conducting, the voltage across RL will be same as Vz. Therefore, VL is equal to Vz, which is 10 volt. After that, calculate IL by using the Ohm's law. That is V is equal to I into R. I is equal to V by R. Therefore, IL will be equal to VL by R. R is 450. You found out that to be 22.2 milliampere. Then afterwards, from this you calculate IR. So how to find out IR is, you have to divide the potential difference between these 2 points by the resistance. The potential difference across this uh, resistance is the potential at this point, which is 20, minus the potential at this point. The potential at this point will be equal to Vz. Therefore, it is 20 minus 10 divided by 200, that is 50 milliampere. Then afterwards, you found out Iz. Iz is equal to the subtraction of IR and IL. So you found out that to be this much. Then afterwards, power is simply V into I. Therefore, you have to multiply Iz into Vz, which is around 278 milliwatt. Then afterwards, the case number 3 or C, where Zener diode is drawing maximum power. If Zener diode is drawing maximum power, it means that maximum value of current is flowing through this. Using that, you find out Iz, and maximum power is given, which is 350 divided by 10. What is 10? 10 is Vz. So power divided by Vz, you will get the maximum value of Iz. Then after getting Iz, use this find out this IR. What is IR? This potential, that is 20 minus 10 divided by 200. So it is around 50 milliampere. Then after that, you find out IL. IL is the difference between IR and Iz. So it is 50 minus 3, that is 35 milliampere. You will get this is 35 milliampere. That is not 3.5. You will get 15 milliampere. Then afterwards, RL. So how to find out this RL? You have to divide this voltage, that is VL, which is equal to Vz, 10 divided by the value of IL. You will get this much, 667 ohm. Then afterwards, find out the last one, RL, the minimum value of RL. So the minimum, if the value of RL is minimum, then what will happen is maximum amount of current will flow. and as the value of RL is minimum, this Zener diode is just on. If it is just on, you can assume that IZ is 0. Therefore, initially we have assumed IZ is 0. Therefore, IR and IL will be same as 50 milliampere. How to find out this 50 milliampere? By this equation. That is, you have to subtract this potential and this potential divided by 200. You will get 50 milliampere, which is equal to IL. After getting that, you find out VL and VZ are same, as this is just conducting. Therefore, the voltage across this will be same as VZ. Then afterwards, RL minimum is V by I. Again, you will get that as 200. In today's class, we shall discuss the next problem on Zener diode. You carefully see the problem. Determine the range of Vi in which the Zener diode of this figure conducts. So this is the circuit given. Here the value of R or forward resistance RS or series resistance RS is 220 ohm. Then you have a load which is fixed to 1.25 kilo ohm. Then you have a VZ for this, that is reverse breakdown voltage of this Zener diode is 20 volt. The maximum power across this Zener diode is 1200 milliwatt. Right, so this is the data which is given. You have to find out the range of Vi. So range of Vi means there will be two values for this Vi. One is minimum value of Vi for which voltage regulation is possible, and maximum value of Vi for which voltage regulation is possible. If I say voltage regulation is possible, you have to find out minimum value of Vi for which diode conducts in reverse direction, and also you have to find out maximum value of Vi for which the diode conducts in the reverse direction. So first we shall find out the minimum value of Vi for which the diode conducts and works like voltage regulator. If you have applied the minimum value of Vi here, then what happens is diode is just on. You can easily assume that the value of IZ is very small, nearly equal to 0. Therefore, what will happen is the value of IL will be exactly equal to IR, because entire IR will flow through this. And if you find out the value of IR, it would be very easy to find out IL, right? So the value of IR you can find out same as in the previous problem. That is, you have to divide the potential difference between these 2 points by the resistance. So the potential uh, and one more point here, as the complete current flows through this, you can what you can do is you can instead of doing that, you can find out IL also, right? Either way it is possible, because same current flows through both. So if you find out IL, then it is very easy. Directly divide this 20. What is 20? 20 is the voltage across this VZ. So same voltage will appear here. 20 divided by 1.25, which will give you 16 milliampere. So the value of IL is 16 milliampere, and the value of IR would also be 16 milliampere. This you can cross check by dividing the potential difference across this by the respective resistance. But here you don't know the value of Vi, therefore this one is suitable. Then afterwards, to find out the minimum value of Vi, what you have to do is you have to add the potential difference across this with the voltage across this RL. Then only you will get the total voltage Vi. Therefore, the total voltage Vi will be equal to 20. What is 20? 20 is the reverse breakdown voltage. As this is conducting, so the voltage across this, in turn, the voltage across this would be 20, right? So 20 plus the potential difference across this. We have found out IR. Multiply IR with the 220. So 220 multiplied with IR value, so you will get the minimum value of Vi as 23.52 volt. Similarly, next you have to find out the maximum value for Vi. If maximum value of Vi flows here, then what would happen is there will be maximum value of IR that is flowing. As you have to maintain constant IL, what will happen is the value of IZ will increase. So the value of IZ will increase to a point where you have reached the maximum reverse current, right? So if maximum reverse current is flowing, the power dissipation across this Zener diode would also be maximum. In the data, they have given a maximum power dissipation. Using this maximum power dissipation, easily you can find out the maximum value of Iz. So maximum value of Iz will be power dissipation divided by the reverse breakdown voltage 20. Vz divided by Vz, you will get 60 milliampere. Then afterwards, after finding this, you can easily find out IL. So the value of IL is the voltage across this, that is the voltage across this would be same as this. Therefore, it is 20 divided by the load. 20 divided by load will give you the same 16 milliampere. Therefore, I have written 16 here. Then afterwards, to find out IR, you have to simply add IZ and IL. So you will get IR as 76 milliampere. After finding this, to find out the maximum value of this Vi, what you have to do? You have to add the potential difference across this with the voltage across this diode or voltage across this RL. So voltage across diode or voltage across RL is 20 because diode is conducting, plus the voltage difference or potential difference across this resistance. So the potential difference or voltage drop across this is 220, the resistance multiplied by IR. So you will get 36.72 volt. So this is the minimum value of Vi for which this diode conducts in reverse direction, and it is working as voltage regulator. 36.72 is the maximum value of Vi for which diode conducts in reverse direction, and successfully it works like voltage regulator. So this is the range. So whenever range is asked, you have to calculate two values for Vi. One is the minimum value of Vi, where the diode just conducts. You can easily assume Iz equals 0. And the second one is maximum value of Vi, where maximum current flows, maximum Iz value flows through this Vz, and you can easily use the maximum power dissipation to find out the maximum value of Iz. I hope this is clear. Next problem. Here also we have to find the range, but the range that we have to find out is the range of RL, right? And Vi is constant here. For the network of figure 2.20, determine the range of RL that will result in VRL being maintained at 10 volt. Also determine wattage rating of the diode. Means you have to find out the maximum power dissipation of this diode. And also you have to find out the range of RL, the minimum value and maximum value of RL. If you observe the previous problem, here you have found out the minimum and maximum value of input voltage or supply voltage. Therefore, this problem is based on the line regulation, where the input voltage is varying between two values, or input value is being varied within a range. The next problem, this one, this is an example of load regulation, where you find out the range for RL, the minimum as well as maximum value of RL, right? Suppose you try to find out the minimum value of RL. Suppose you have connected a minimum value of RL here, which will just turn on this diode. Then what would happen is maximum value of current will flow through this. The entire current IR will flow through this resistance, and Iz will be essentially zero, right? So we know that IR will be equal to IL. So what is IL? IL is nothing but VL divided by RL. VL divided by RL. What is the VL? VL is nothing but VZ. Therefore, it is VZ divided by RL, right? And what is IR? IR is simply VI minus VZ. So the potential at this point is VZ. So the potential difference would be VI, which is potential at this point, minus VZ. So VI minus VZ is potential difference divided by R. So at one side of the equality, you have Vi minus Vz divided by R, and on the other side of equality, you have uh, this Vz divided by RL. Therefore, if you cross multiply and find out the value of RL, so your RL would be this much. So it is R into Vz divided by Vi minus Vz. So here you can, if you see, if you bring this Vi minus Vz on this side, that is LHS side, and if you bring R at the denominator of LHS, then it would be Vi minus Vz divided by R, which is nothing but the current IR. Similarly, if you try to bring this RL minimum on the RHS side denominator, then it would be Vz by RL minimum, which is nothing but IL, right? So here from this equation, you can easily find out the minimum value of RL. So it is 1000 in 1000 is the value of R 1 kilo ohm into 10. 10 is the Vz value divided by 50 minus 10. 50 is the potential at this point. 10 is potential at this point, which is equal to Vz. So it is 250 ohm. Then afterwards, first value of this R you have found out, which is minimum value. Next, you have to find out the maximum value of R. Assume that maximum value of R is kept. Then what would happen is the value of I will be minimum. IL will be minimum, right? So you will have finite value of Iz as well as finite value of IL, right? How to find out the voltage across this uh, resistance? It is 50 minus Vz, that is Vi minus Vz, you will get around 40 volt, right? So using this you can find the value of IR. So what is IR? IR is VR by R, that is the potential difference. 50 minus 10 divided by R value is 1k, so it is around 40 milliampere. 40 milliampere. Therefore, to find out the value of IL, to find out the value of IL, which is minimum value, you can use this equation. IL will be equal to IR minus IZM. What is IZM? IZM is the maximum value of Zener current. That is the maximum value for this IZ, right? So what would be the value of IL minimum? It would be around 8 milliampere. So why we are finding out minimum value of IL? Because we have to find out maximum value of RL. When the value of RL is maximum, obviously the value of IL will be reduced. For maximum value of RL, you will have minimum value of IL. Hence, we have found out the minimum value of IL. From this minimum value of IL, we are finding the maximum value of RL. So RL max will be equal to Vz, which is voltage different potential across this RL divided by IL minimum. You will get around 1.2 kilo ohm. So the range for RL is 250 ohm to 1.2 kilo ohm. Between this range, for any value of RL, this Zener diode will be successfully operating in the reverse breakdown region, and it will be working like a voltage regulator. So for any value of resistance beyond this, that is it can be less than 250 or more than 1.2 kilo ohm. This may not work in the reverse breakdown region, and hence you cannot realize voltage regulation for the values of RL beyond 250 and 1.2 kilo ohm range. Now the second part of this problem, what you have to do is you have to find out the maximum power. You can find this maximum power by simply multiplying Vz into maximum value of Iz. So it is around 10 into 32 milliampere, 320 milliwatt. I hope this is clear. So there are only three possible cases for any problem on this Zener diode. There could be three possible cases. The first one is to find out all currents and voltages, which is the first problem. The second case is you need to find out the range of Vi, the range of Vi, which is based on the line regulation. So these type of problems will be based on line regulation. And the third case is you need to find out the range for RL. That is, these type of problems will be based on load regulation, the minimum and maximum value of RL. Similarly, yeah, in this second case where you are finding the range of Vi, they can also give the range of Vi, and they may ask you to give find out the value of range of Iz, right? So if Vi is at a minimum value, Iz will also be at a minimum value. If Vi will be at maximum value, then Iz will also be at the maximum value. So they can directly give Vi instead of asking range for Vi. they can give a range for Vi, that is around 20 volt to 50 volt, right? That could be range of Vi, and they can in turn ask the value of Iz, the range for Iz. Similarly, in the third case, here they have asked give the range of RL, the minimum and maximum value of RL. But in some problems, they may give the range for RL, the minimum value of RL, maximum value of RL. In turn, they can ask you to find out the minimum value of Iz and maximum value of Iz. If you have to find out minimum value of Iz, then you have to consider minimum value of RL, maximum value of Iz, you have to consider maximum value of RL. So I hope this is clear. So next we shall move on. This is the new topic or the next topic of your syllabus, which is rectification. So what do you mean by rectification is it is a process of converting AC to DC. So AC to DC conversion process is called as rectification. And to perform this task, diode is the most suitable device because it will conduct in only one direction. Therefore, it is the most suitable device to perform this AC to DC conversion. Even though the converted DC will be not in the purest form, but you can do further processing of the converted DC to get a regulated DC at the end. We can use filter circuits, and also we can use the regulators to obtain a constant DC. I hope you know the differences between AC and DC. AC means it will be just like a sine waveform like this. So it is a continuously time varying signal, which is your alternating current AC. DC means a constant voltage. So there will be a straight line, just like x-axis. There will be a straight line with constant voltage. That is DC. So under this rectification, first let us study half wave rectifier or half wave rectification. Half wave rectification, as the name indicates, what it will do is it will rectify only half of the waveform or half of the cycle. Suppose you consider this input, right? So from 0 to 2 pi, from 0 to 2 pi is one cycle. So in this one cycle, this half wave rectification will perform rectification of only one half, that is from 0 to pi. From pi to 2 pi, there will be no conduction. So such type of rectification is called as half wave rectification. To perform half wave rectification, you require only a single diode, and here it is considered as ideal diode, which is just like a switch, right? So it will not impose any forward voltage or knee voltage here. So ideal diode means this is a straight connection, right? So at the input you have Vi. This Vi can also be fed from a transformer, a step down transformer. The output from secondary of transformer you can feed here as input Vi, right? So whenever there is positive half cycle on this Vi, what will happen is positive terminal of this signal, positive terminal of this battery or supply or transformer secondary will be connected to positive terminal of diode, and in turn negative terminal of diode will be connected to the negative terminal of the transformer or the supply. Then what would happen is this diode will be forward biased. So whenever it is forward biased, there will be a closed circuit. There will be a closed connection here. So whatever the input that you are applying here, same will appear across this RL, which is VL or V0. V0 will be equal to VL. Therefore, you will get the same shape of the waveform during the positive half cycle. That is from 0 to pi. From 0 to pi, you will get the same waveform whose peak would be Vm. Here also you get Vm at the output. During negative half cycle, that is from pi to 2 pi, during negative half cycle, what will happen is the polarity of these two terminals will change. So here the polarity would be negative of the supply, and here the polarity will become positive. Then obviously this diode will be reverse biased. As it is a ideal diode, in reverse bias condition it will not conduct at all, so it is open circuit. So whenever there is open circuit here in place of diode, you will get no voltage across this RL. No current will flow, no voltage across this RL. Therefore, V naught, which is equal to VL, will be 0. Therefore, in the negative half cycle, that is pi to 2 pi, you will get 0, no voltage. Similarly, this process would repeat in the next half cycle, that is from pi to this much, right? You will get again a positive half cycle, pi to 3 pi, you will get positive half cycle, and afterwards from 3 pi onwards, you will get 0, and so on. This process will continue. So this type of rectification, where only half of the input waveform is rectified, is called as half wave rectification. In this half wave rectification, the amount of AC would be more compared to the other rectifiers. So now our task is to find out different parameters with respect to this rectification. I hope the rectification process is clear. Now what we shall do is we shall find out the output voltage, or VDC, the output voltage or the DC value of output voltage across this RL. Yeah, as you can see, this is a even though it is rectified output, it is like a alternating current, or it is continuously time varying. For such signals, to find out DC output voltage, we just take the average. We just take the average of the voltages or average of this signal at all points, right? To take average of this signal, there is a general formula. So I will just take you to that site to find out mean of a function, that too if it is a continuous signal. So we have to use this equation, right? I hope this is visible. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what you have to do is you have to take the integration of your signal with respect to dx, and the integration limits would be the time period that you have considered, or the interval, right? So for our case, it would be, so our case the interval would be 0 to 2 pi, right? 0 to 2 pi. The integration limits would be 0 to 2 pi. And what about this one? See here it is 1 by b minus a. So this is 2 pi minus 0, because we are cycle is between 0 and 2 pi. Therefore b is 2 pi, a is 0. 1 by 2 pi we will get here, and this would be 0, and this would be 2 pi, right? And this thing is, as we are using sine wave, it would be Vm sine omega t with respect to omega t, right? So this is general equation, how to find out the mean or average value of a continuous function. This equation I have referred from Wikipedia, right? You can also see this equation here in this Wikipedia. This is general equation. We are using this general equation for our requirement, right? And one more thing that you can notice here is, between pi to 2 pi, the value of Vm is 0. The value of Vm is 0. It means that if we simply integrate our function between 0 to pi, then it is sufficient. Therefore, what we have done here is integration of 0 to pi, Vm sin omega t. Vm I have taken outside of this integration as it is constant with respect to d omega t plus 0. So in place of 0, what you would write is integration from pi to 2 pi, integration from pi to 2 pi, again sine omega t, but here the value of v naught is 0. Therefore, I have written 0 here. Integration of 0 is 0, right? So after when you perform integration, so the integration of sine omega t, you already know it is minus cos omega t, right? So after applying limits, so how will you apply limits? So minus cos omega t is there. The first limit is pi. So you will get minus, if you take minus sign outside, you will get cos of pi, which is minus 1, minus cos of 0. So cos of 0 is 1. So inside the bracket you have minus 1, minus 1. So it will become minus 2. Outside the bracket you have 1 minus. So minus minus will cancel. You will get plus 2. So at the end you will get 2 Vm here, 2 Vm. And at the outside you have 1 by 2 pi. So therefore 2 will cancel. At the end you will get Vm by pi. Therefore your DC output voltage or output voltage of your rectifier or average DC voltage, you can find it out as Vm by pi. So approximately 1 by pi would be equal to 0.31. That also I have calculated here. So if you perform 1 by pi, you will get a 0.318 approximately. Therefore, you can approximate this as 0.318 of Vm. So what is Vm? Vm is again peak value of the input. So the same value is maintained at the output as you have assumed ideal diode, right? Next parameter is to find out the output current, right? You have to find out IDC, the DC or current that flows through this RL. So how to find out the DC current which flows through this RL? Use Ohm's law. You know that the value of VDC is Vm by pi. Therefore, VDC divided by RL. VDC divided by RL. So Vm by pi divided by RL, which will be like this: Vm by pi into 1 by RL. So you will get you can, what you can do is, in turn you can take this Vm by RL as Im, right? So it is peak value of current, output current Im. Im will be equal to Vm by RL. Therefore, in turn you will get Im by pi. And here also the value of 1 by pi is 0.318. See, peak inverse voltage is the maximum reverse voltage that a diode would experience, and during the negative half cycle, you would experience Vm, right? So here you can see the peak value at in the negative half cycle, it is Vm. Therefore, peak inverse voltage is Vm. Next is ripple factor. So first of all, what is ripple? So ripple is the variation of output voltage about DC, or in simple words, ripple is the AC content in the output DC voltage. As you know, output is not a pure DC, right? So there are variations in the output voltage. This is not expected as part of a DC waveform. A DC waveform means a straight line. A DC waveform means a straight line. Therefore, what you have to do is you have to find out the amount of ripple, or something called as ripple factor, which will quantify the amount of ripple that is present inside this output waveform, right? So ripple is nothing but the amount of AC, or the AC content in the output voltage, right? And as you can see, it is quite large. The ripple is quite large, and it is found that the frequency of this ripple is 2 times the frequency of the input voltage itself. So we shall find out what is this ripple factor is, and this ripple factor is denoted by gamma. The gamma is a ratio of two parameters here, that is RMS value of the AC component of load voltage by DC component of load voltage. That is what is a ripple factor gamma. It is RMS value of AC component of load voltage divided by DC component of load voltage. The denominator is very simple. DC component of load voltage is same as your VDC. This is what is your DC component of load voltage, because this is what you have found out after doing some mathematical operation. What is the average value? You have taken average of this to find out the DC value. So that is VDC. For this purpose, to include this parameter load, it is represented as VLDC. That's all. So this is same as VDC only. This L is written here to represent that it is voltage across load, right? Then RMS value of AC component. So how to find out this is, first of all, you have to take the RMS value of this of obtained output voltage. the RMS value of this obtained output voltage. So the RMS value of the obtained output voltage, you can represent it as VLRMS, that is RMS value of load voltage. It will have two components because your output is not pure DC, it is having two components. First one is the AC component. The second one is DC component. Therefore, VLRMS is square root of 1 by 2 is nothing but square root of VL ACRMS square plus VLDC square. So what we want in the numerator is we want this VLACRMS, right? So if you take this square root on the LHS side, it will become VLRMS square, that will be equal to VLACRMS square plus VLDC square, right? Therefore, VLACRMS would be RMS square would be equal to VLRMS square minus VLDC square. If you substitute that here in this ratio, so what you will get is VLRMS. At the denominator, you have VLDC as usual. Therefore, you will get this part minus same VLDC by VLDC. You will get both will cancel out and you will get 1. So this is the formula. It is square root of 1 by 2 means square root of VL RMS square divided by VLDC square minus 1. And also you know that VL RMS, it is RMS value of half sine wave, that is from 0 to pi over 0 to 2 pi, because from pi to 2 pi we don't have any output in the waveform. Therefore we can consider only this much, right? And therefore VLRMS, right? So it can be approximated like this, right? So how to find out this VLRMS is, again there is a general equation. You can get that in Wikipedia. General equation is there. So root mean square, RMS means root mean square. So how to find out this root mean square is for continuous functions. So this is the So this is the way how you can find out root mean square of continuous function, and approximately you can find the RMS value of continuous function by taking the RMS of sample consisting of equal spaced observations. So that is what is done here. So what we have taken is we have taken RMS of sample consisting of equal spaced observation. So we have taken two observations here. The first one is for this, where we have a VM, and the second sample is this, where it is 0, right? So this is one of the approximate ways to find out RMS of this output, right? By taking that, we have considered it as a RMS is square root of the first sample square, which is VM by root 2 square, right? Into this is a mean, right? Here you have, so you are taking the mean. Mean means there are two samples. You have taken two samples. Therefore, first value of sample plus second value of sample is 0. First value plus 0 divided by 2. So it is 1 by 2. So approximately it is Vm by 2, VLRMS. Therefore, if you substitute Vm by 2 here, and in place of VLDC, if you substitute this Vm by pi, so what you get is this substitution. So there is square root of Vm by 2 whole square divided by Vm by pi square minus 1. So approximately this would be reduced to pi by 2 whole square and minus 1. Pi by 2 whole square minus 1. And there is a square root here, which will be approximately equal to 1.21. So you can observe here, it is 1.21. It means that almost more than 100% you have the ripple content or the AC content in the obtained output voltage of this half wave rectifier. Next, there is one more parameter of this half wave rectifier, that is power conversion efficiency. So power conversion efficiency, you can define it as DC output power divided by AC input power. So DC output power, you can power, you know, V into I. You can also represent power into I square into R. So we are using I square R. DC output power is IDC square into RL, and AC input power is IRMS square into RL, right? So the AC input IRMS current input current IRMS can be approximated in the same way as we did for this using the general equation. You can do in this way where you get Im by 2, or else you can also follow one more method which is also described in this Wikipedia link, that is here, right? So a continuous function's RMS you can obtain by taking square root of 1 by T2 minus T1. This is interval, right? So here for our case it would be 2 pi minus 0 integration of T1 to T2. Here it is 0 to 2 pi, and our function is Im sin omega t. Im sin omega t with we are doing integration with respect to d omega. So that would be reduced to this one here. So you can, I hope you can see. This is one more way of finding IRMS, taking square root of 1 by 2 pi. So this is the interval 0 to 2 pi interval. 1 by 2 pi minus 0 will give you 2 pi. Then 0 to 2 pi IL square t omega t. What is IL? IL is Im sin omega t. Therefore square is there. It will be Im square sin square omega t plus what you have is here. What I have done is I have split this from 0 to pi 1 integration, then from pi to 2 pi it is 0, right? So this would be completely 0. You will get only this thing, the first term. If you apply trigonometric function for this sin square omega t, you will get 1 minus cos 2 omega t by 2. Integration is from 0 to 2 pi d omega t. Suppose you perform integration of this, and how to perform integration of this, you can take denominator 2 common for both the 1 and this. Therefore it will be 1 by 2 minus cos 2 omega t by 2. So you have to perform integration of 1 by 2. So integration of constant is omega t. So you will get omega t by 2 for first term, minus integration of cos is sine, right? So you will get after that you have to apply the limits 0 pi, and again you will get Im by 2. So in both methods you will get Im by 2. Substitute the value of IDC. IDC is Im by pi. Where is IDC? IDC is this one, Im by pi, output DC current, Im by pi. IRMS either you can use this one, which is also Im by 2, or else this method, which is also Im by 2, then whole square. So you will get 2 by pi whole square, which is equal to 0.405. In terms of percentage, you have to multiply this by 100. You will get 40.5%. So in the bracket, it is written as ideal because we have assumed that the diode that we have used here is an ideal diode. Therefore, 40% is your power conversion efficiency. Out of 100% available input AC power, we have converted only 40% of AC power to DC. That is what is the meaning of this. So here, let us see how this half wave rectification works out in a practical way. So I have taken you to the virtual lab platform. Here, this is called as oscilloscope. Oscilloscope is a measuring instrument where you can measure voltages. You can see the waveform traces and all. Right. So this is your rectifier. We have applied a sine wave as input to this, right? And this is the load RL. So this is your input, the blue line. I hope this is visible. Blue line is visible. This is your input sine wave. Input sine wave. The red line is the output across RL. So you can see only the positive half cycle. Here, if you start from this, you can see that positive half cycle is converted to DC, or you obtain only positive half cycle on the RL. During negative half cycle, you don't get any output at the RL or across the load. I hope this is clear. Is the waveform visible? So how to operate this oscilloscope, virtual oscilloscope and all, you will find the manual in this virtual lab itself. You can go through that manual and you can find out how to operate this. So this is basically a measuring instrument. Oscilloscope is a measuring instrument where you can find out the waveforms or traces of the output signal. I hope the half wave rectification concept is clear. Here also they have given some formulas, right? So VRMS, which is Vm by 2, Vm is peak, and VDC, which is Vm by 5. Then afterwards, ripple factor they have given, that is AC component divided by DC component. And what is AC? AC is square root of VRMS minus VDC, right? The peak current they have given, the peak current across this load, also the diode peak current which is flowing as per the setup. We have set up a 600 value for RL, 600 ohm for RL, right? So according to this setup, what is the current that is flowing through diode as well as this resistance? That is this peak value. It is also calculated here. I hope this is clear for you, the concept of half wave rectifier. Further, in the next classes, we shall see how does this full wave rectifier works. And under full wave rectifier, you will find two variants. One is a bridge rectifier. Second one is a full wave rectifier with capacitor filter. This is sufficient for today's class. You may log out.